Welcome to Presente, a space and community that vibes on being in the moment, something we are relearning how to do in a fast moving world.
We are excited to be part of a growing movement that talks about topics that we feel haven't been talked about in our Latin culture and womanhood.
Be present with us. Take a pause and break down societal norms.
Redefine the meaning of existing. Welcome to Presente, the podcast.
Triumph through pain. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Presente. All month long, Jissela and I are centric focused on matters of mental health. For today's episode, we highlight ways that you can support your mental health, and we also have a special guest speaker, Basiliso Moreno, also known as Bas, a licensed social worker and author of Triumph through pain. He joins us with his expertise, advice, and lessons of dealing and coping with mental health.
What is pain? Pain is physical, mental, and emotional. It leaves us in a state where it can feel like staying knocked down is the only way to get through. Pain alerts us to get up and do something so we don't feel more of it. Pain is a process. It's the ashes burned to rise and become a phoenix once more. Life is not a tidy box wrapped in a neat bow. It will surprise us in unexpected ways and teaches us to work through things. That's the power of triumph through pain.
The energy around you affects your health too. There can be days and moments of a slumber or hyperactive emotions. One moment you can be the happiest and at your best, and the next you can feel the complete opposite, perhaps lonely, unsatisfied, and a mess. We understand that for some of these traits, it can be medically diagnosed, and for others, it can be just a matter of carrying mental stress and emotions. Regardless of the two, however, first things first is acknowledging your feelings. Your feelings are of your own and you're human, so it's all right. We all carry emotions that come and go, and that is part of life. I encourage everyone listening and dealing with mental health to find joy in the little things, in the things that bring a smile to their faces, comfort to your hearts, and ease to your mind. Pay attention to your surroundings and environment and make the necessary changes if need be. But don't lose yourself. Don't neglect yourself. Instead, definitely take better care of yourself.
Hi, I'm Basiliso Moreno, and I'm here on Presente.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our discussion on mental health. Joining us tonight is author, poet, entrepreneur, licensed master's social worker, Bas Moreno. It is a pleasure to have you here on Presente. Thank you for giving us a moment of your time. Given that it is Mental Health Awareness Month, I figured it would be appropriate and of significant added value by having you here on the finale of our episodes concerning mental health. I met Bass over 10 years ago at a network function, but we've been in contact over the years, and it's nice to see how you have evolved, but yet very consistent and true to your mission. I commend you for that. You recently published your first book. Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
your achievement, Triumph Through Pain. We will dive deeper into that in a moment. So, listeners, please stay tuned. Bass, welcome. This is Presente, the podcast, alongside with Jissela. You do a lot, and within your profession and your community, please tell us a little bit about your story and background for those listening.
Well, thank you, ladies, first and foremost, for having me on. I appreciate it, and thank you for talking about Mental Health Awareness Month. I feel like all day, every day, 365, we talk. We need to talk about mental health, especially in our Black and Brown communities that remains stigmatized. To talk about it, especially for us men, definitely need to be talking more and more about it. So I wrote a poetry book, Triumph Through Pain: How to Maximize Your Full Potential in Hard Times during the pandemic of 2020. So it's available on Amazon. It's available on my website, bassmoreno.com. I wrote it after I was working in New York. I'm originally born and bred born and raised in the Wakanda of New York City, the Bronx, New York. Was working in Harlem at the time, working with the older adults, or used to be known as the elderly. When COVID came, literally had clients quickly passing away from COVID, to the point kind of by like May, June, I lost 10 clients from pandemic as a result of COVID. So literally I would check my email and find out somebody was in the hospital due to COVID. An hour or two later, they pass away. We have our morning meetings. As a medical, social worker, we do like morning rounds, and then come to find out after the meeting that that person died, and somebody else was in the hospital. So it was just kind of like a revolving cycle. And of course, like New York City, basically you heard sirens so constantly. It was just a wild time to be living and working in the city at that time, as New York kind of became like the unofficial epicenter of COVID. And yet at the same time, I was dealing with my mom, who had just came home like literally 2 weeks before lockdown from being in a nursing home for like 7, 9 months after breaking her ankle. So she came home, and then like literally one day she was just checking, like I went to check up on her, and she was drinking some Gatorade, taking her medicine, and she started choking on the Gatorade. I'm like, what the heck is wrong with you? And literally she started turning red like really, really quickly, to the point of like, I gotta call 911. At the time, this is like April 2020. So if somebody would go to the hospital, you think that's the last time you're gonna see them. So I'm like in the hallway of my apartment building, like kind of like thinking about saying like my last goodbyes to her, because I didn't expect her to get out from the hospital. Kind of find like a week later. So I had like my full conversation with her that weekend. Like, I think it was like a Tuesday, Wednesday, she went in. Shout out to the doctor that actually used WhatsApp to call me and like have like a video conversation with her from the ICU. So she was still kind of coherent at the time, so enough having a conversation, but definitely kind of like out of it a little bit and kind of scared and nervous. Like, she wanted me to go visit her. I'm like, I can't go see you at the hospital. Like there's no visiting. Like, there's COVID going on. Like, I can't go there. I'm not allowed to go see you as much as I would like to. So she actually got discharged like that following week. So she spent a full week in the hospital. She comes home and like literally her affect totally like changed, like flat out. Like there was no expression in her face at all. Like, kind of like she was not the same person whatsoever. Like, barely could say a few words. All she could say was water, and like very soft, like a soft voice. And like, so I knew right away, just from me being her son, first of all, but also like my social work skills kind of went into play as well. Like, this is not the same person that went into the hospital in the first place. So it was myself, my mom, my dad, and both of my kids living in an apartment. Luckily, my girlfriend at the time, she worked at a school, and they went virtual. The kids went to go live with her in Queens, and then I'm in the house with both my parents, trying to navigate me trying not to catch COVID from being outside working, and then also trying not to catch COVID while in the house as well, and not trying to infect like my mom or my dad. And my dad was like autoimmune compromised himself, so we definitely was like monitoring his health as well. So it was a lot happening all at the same time in real time. It was like kind of, I'm trying to learn to give myself more grace, that I've come to that other side. I've done so much since then. Like, I don't feel like I give myself enough credit for that. But yet, and then literally she came home like the next morning, called 911 again, and then calling the doctor. The doctors didn't know. Like, they thought that was her baseline. Like, no, I literally had a conversation the weekend before, a full length conversation. This is not her baseline. Yeah, I need to somehow figure out like what the heck happened in like 72, 96 hours. Like, what happened? Like, her brain. Like, the doctors could not figure it out, to the point that I had to tell the hospital like, she needs to go to long-term care. I can't physically take care of her. So I'm like, literally was the time that she was home for that month, from March to the beginning of April. I was like literally changing diapers, like bathing her on the hospital bed as much as I could. Like, just everything you would do with a newborn, I was doing it for my mom. So with 2 herniated discs in my back, and I had hurt my finger the fall before that was still like trying to heal. I was playing basketball and I hurt my finger playing. So like literally using that hand to try to like bathe my mom and like changing diapers. So it was not a fun experience in so many different ways. To the point I was telling the hospital, like I can't take, like, it's just me. Like I'm like the only child. Like I don't have other major supports other than my dad. So that is just it. So I can't. She needs to go to long-term care. So that we figured out a place for her to go. And unfortunately, she did not make her first weekend in the hospital and passed away in the nursing home May the 3rd of 2020, literally a week before Mother's Day. And what sucked even more about that was the nursing home that she died in. I could literally walk from my house to the nursing home. So it was like maybe a 25-minute walk on a good day. I've done the walk as a kid, so for me, it's not a far walk. So yeah, so close yet so far, and couldn't see her, couldn't visit her, couldn't say my last goodbyes, like none of that. The book kind of came about literally sitting on the couch. I might have been on a Zoom call or about something or on Instagram scrolling, and then these words started popping up in my head, and like, let me grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, like scrap paper, and started writing them down. And like a poem came out, and oh snap, this rhyme. And then I would sleep, like I'd be sleeping, and I wake up middle of the night, like having to grab a pen and paper and started writing in the dark. And like, okay, I figure out what the heck I wrote in the morning when I wake up, while I be in the bathroom showering. To the point, it became to a point like I need to have like pen and paper like at all times, because like these words would pop in my head. Like I'm gonna forget if I don't write this down right now. I'm gonna forget, and it sound good. It looks good. It kind of made sense, some sort of sense, and I figure it out. So to the point that, okay, I had all these poems. What the heck do I do? First, I thought about just doing a ebook and just put it as an ebook. And then I got a writing coach that I followed for a while online. He's a financial educator, but he's written bestseller books, different topics, and he had a whole writing course. So I signed up for the writing course, and he gave like the tidbits of how to self-publish the book. July 2022, the book was born and published. So that's kind of how everything kind of transpired. So literally like a whole year of just off again writing. I moved out of New York during that time, moved to Delaware, continued to write the same thing, like pop, like in the shower, like I had a pen and paper, like on the bathroom sink just in case, or like wake up middle of the night and pen and paper right next to the bedstand and kind of write and figure it out what the heck I wrote when I wake up the following morning. So it was an interesting, wild time in terms of my writing process. But that's literally kind of like what happened with that. So it wasn't just sit down. Like towards the end, like I wanted to have like a couple more poems, or like, and then I was having like writer's block, and then like kind of think to write. Like I'm like at the same time I was thinking about like how long the book was going to be, how it's going to look, and kind of make it look like a book, not like I still like how it came out, and just to be a published author is an accomplishment. But I wanted to somehow try to make it like a little thicker than it was. But the next one.
I first and foremost, my sincerest condolences to you and your family for your loss. It's tough to lose your mom, your first love, especially even tougher under the circumstances that it was. I mean, honestly, that's just like a dark place to be. One, dealing with something so personal, and then on a bigger magnitude, like what the whole world was going through. If it feels like it's just an uphill, like when are you going to see the light of day, right? Thank you also because for your services as a first responder and helping patients and anyone that you can touch during that time, to actually just have some hope, have someone to turn to. I know that despite it being like very crucial, difficult times, your mother would be very proud of you. And I'm sure she is. I'm sure she's looking over you and guiding you, and very proud of your accomplishments. Many people, Black and Brown and Latino communities, it's hard to get through. It's hard to, have a success story like yours, despite the challenges you had to face. So I do thank you for that. And I'm very sure your mother is very proud of you. One thing, all in all, that I realized through this and hearing your story is like, your profession requires you to be a giver of your time, listening, remembering things, being a guided force for people that really need someone to turn to. You then realize, like, hey, the giver and the healer, they need healing too. The fact that, like you were saying, hey, thoughts were just coming to you in words, and you took the time to put pen to paper and just started writing and writing. And I do believe there's power in writing. There's an episode that we have earlier on in this year where we touch base on that. And this is actually, living proof of you taking the time out to put your pen to paper, getting your thoughts together, now being a certified an author of a book. That's a huge accomplishment. Can't wait to see the other poems or any other book of its kind that you are able to publish. Given that this is your first book and it just started with, one poem leading to the next one and to the next one. And when I was reading it, you placed them in a way where it was in chronological order. So I thought that was very cool because it gives you sort of like a vision of like going from one chapter to the next chapter of like what you were dealing with. So I felt that. I would say like what made you take it from something so personal, like a diary in a sense, to then wanting to continue and push it further to a published short book of poems?
Oh man.
What was the turning point?
On top of everything else that that I do at the time, and still technically I am a licensed Zumba instructor. I haven't taught Zumba in like over a year due to injuring my foot. So at the time of COVID, I was working at a gym. Obviously the gyms are closed from COVID, so like what was going to be like my outlet? Like I had stuff happening with work, the society's going crazy with COVID, and just everything that's happening. Like kind of the poems just kind of the writing became like, I don't want to say like act like by accident, but it wasn't like I'm gonna do this and like purposely like had a plan to do this. Like it just
It
happens.
became your outlet.
Yeah, somehow it
Mhm.
just became like an unintentional outlet, because usually when you're stressed out, when I was stressed out, like okay, I'm going to the gym, I'm gonna go work out, and okay, I feel better. So I didn't have that anymore. So like the writing just became the outlet. Still trying to work, try to like my long term goal was to try to like had plans of leaving New York, even like towards the end of 2019, going into 2020 before COVID was a thing. And then like, do I still move? Do like I stay and try to move 2021? Like talking to to my girlfriend at the time, who's not my wife. Like, what do we do? Like, what do we do? So it's like just kind of all that, and still like we were planning to try to move and like trying to, okay, let's get the book out, see like if there's any sales, and kind of use that as like additional income to like try to save to have the purchase for the house, or at least that was like my initial like thought. So basically we decided to still try to like move, and shout out to her older brother, he let us stay in his house for a few months. And so because we had to like live in the state that really kind of see, we can't, there was only so much Zillow we could try to do to look at houses without actually seeing the property or going inside the property and kind of touching the walls and seeing where the communities are located, like seeing the schools, like the neighborhood being built up and things of that nature. So the summer we decided to go. My girlfriend actually went with the kids first, and then our good old Amtrak came through in the clutch. And like every Friday after work, I'll go to Delaware by train and come back Monday morning on Amtrak and go to work in New York. And I did that July all the way through October until I finally landed a job. Briefly, I worked somewhere for a couple months in Delaware, and so I found another job and then kind of became stabilized, and then got my house February 2021.
Congrats on the move and continued accomplishments.
Thank you.
I love the story. I really do, despite the pain you had to go through.
Definitely. 2020 was a moment of many unknowns for a lot of people. And because it was a hard time, and moving on to the next question, as a professional social worker, in general terms, what are some best practices, for improving your mental health? What advice would you give to other people?
Do whatever makes you happy, whatever that is. You kind of have to focus on your own happiness, focus whatever that looks like. Obviously that looks different from everybody, and you only can focus on yourself. Like if that involves going to therapy, do that. I'm not saying that because as a mental health, professional, but it took a while. Like finally, like I decided to go to therapy. It started this year. Like I had to. My therapist was like, you've been living in fight or flight for a long time. I kind of explained like my backstory even before my mom's death and dealing with my ex-wife and all the stuff that happened in my first marriage, and like you've been dealing with all this stuff, and like you need to somehow get this out. Like, yeah, I know. Like, so I was dealing with that. Obviously, writing is like going to the gym's your thing. Go to the gym. Like writing's your thing. Write whatever. Like listening to music. Listen to music. It is so any holistic practices that you would do. Like just do that. Whatever that's comfortable for you and your skin. And do that. You don't have to give like explanation to anybody. That includes your family, spouse, like doesn't matter. Like you gotta focus on yourself. Like if you don't focus on yourself and focus to love yourself and be centered in yourself, you can't give to somebody else. So that goes with us in the profession, like working and kind of take those PTO days, and I know self-care became a big buzzword, and to the point where when I started my business, I try to focus on providing self-care for my fellow social workers. That was like my initial start of my business, and focus with that. Nobody was really feeling that to a point. So I changed my business model last year as I started to learn more about finances, and kind of provide financial education for sandwich generation for individuals like myself who are still having an older caretaker to an older adult while caring for kids and trying to navigate finances, like trying to save for college while at the same time worried about estate planning for an older adult, and like where do I fit in terms of finances, and in terms of like trying to save for my own retirement. Like how does all that kind of work? So yeah, just whatever you're into, kind of do that. Obviously there's a lot on the news, a lot on online, on social media. Like take social media breaks. It's too much for you. I know 2020 became like I couldn't watch the news anymore. Like my dad was like, "Do you hear the numbers regarding COVID?" Like that's the first thing I hear when I go to work, because we go through the COVID numbers in the city. Like we gotta follow CDC guidelines for work as a medical social worker. So I don't want to hear it again on the news. Like I shut down, like watch what the weather was going to be, and that was it in terms of news for a while. And it's hard because there's so much that was happening, on the news.
Hey, as long as you have, peace of mind and you're happy, Delaware it is.
I got lucky. I came in the right time, really like perfect timing. Interest rates was like under 3%. And now we're looking at like over 7, like 4 years later. So we're literally like just the amount of money I saving on interest just coming in the right time. And through all the struggle, January all the way through August was rough, and then of 2020, the September came was like completely. It happened to be my birthday month, so my birthdays are the mornings are rough, because I don't get that happy birthday call from my mom. But like the rest of the days on my birthdays gets better. When the Lakers won yes, the championship counts, the bubble championship counts. So after like day one, so the championship had like extra meaning, and then like literally everything happened like in place. Like we're looking at housing, and like the kids was like, "That's my room. That's my room." Like, don't touch anything. Don't touch the walls. Don't break anything. we gotta. There's contracts involved, and just like teaching them, having that opportunity to teach them like financial literacy, like at real time, in terms of what home ownership look like, what forms are needed to get together to give to the lender and the borrower, and like, all that comes into play before actually the close or the contract that you meet with a lawyer, you close So I was literally taking like courses on that.
You brought me into my next question, which was about financial literacy and, generational wealth, breaking generational curses. I hear a lot in some of the things you're saying is you do your homework, you took a course here, you got a mentor there, a lawyer here. You brought in the necessary pillars to actually get this thing going that you've had your mind set on. I think it's very important, financial literacy. I have somewhat of a background in it, given my experience through working corporate in banking. I worked there for a very long time, straight out of high school, and then ultimately just graduating with a bachelor's in business management. I love that you speak on this, that you're aware of it, that you're teaching your kids about it and making this topic of conversation, because we don't have to live paycheck to paycheck. We also don't need to just, they say like save for a rainy day, but there's so many other methods and tools in terms of like loans and borrowing and credit. So I love that you find it within you to learn about it and then pass it along to your families. One thing I will say is, how important is it now that you're in it? How important is for you to build on this legacy that you're trying to leave and put nicely for your children?
The legacy piece is pretty much everything what I'm trying to do right now. So, obviously the book and is my words that's forever. Like they want to read the book, like just open it up and it is my word. I do have a social work podcast, like it's they can hear my voice or see me on YouTube. If it's still a thing by the time they're adults, like they can hear me or see me or a video, that's forever. Just like like I didn't have like anything. Like when my mom passed, it was like literally like it barely covered like and like I had to do a cremation. I did a cremation. Well, I was forced to do a cremation, just the way things ran in the city at the time. That barely covered the cremation piece when I got her life insurance policy. So like learning about life insurance, getting more bang for your buck was an immediate thing I needed to do. For me, I realized like she had gotten a life insurance policy on me, and then I look at the policy, I was like, the policy is trash. Let me go change that, get more bang for the buck. And like realizing my dad didn't have life insurance, and I always had somehow planned for him to pass first, just for, like health reasons. Like we always thought he was going to pass first, and then so it's funny how life works, and now I'm caretaking for him. So like, shoot, he don't got a life insurance. Let me go like talk to a life insurance agent and get a policy for him. And I got something for him. So changed like my kids' policy, got a life insurance policy on my wife, especially when we got married, and just make sure just kind of protect in place. It was for a while during 2020, but I was like questioning my own mortality and got a living will in place. And then I learned that after the fact that wasn't necessarily sufficient, especially now that I'm a homeowner, that like working on getting a trust in place. So that's like my next step that I've been like procrastinating on and doing, but I need to get that done. So just kind of protect what I have for them in case something does happen. And I still think I think like my dad is going to outlive me. He got more lives than a cat. Old school Latino men, like the more hits they take, the more they keep on trucking along. So just kind of leaving that legacy for them, where I should try to. My kids like they're like, why are you talking about that? Because you need to learn and understand this. That what I'm trying to do for you. That way, like your lives, especially you're an adult, it'd be slightly better than it was. For me, like I didn't have didn't have anything. I'm just like learning to have stuff like now. On like still like in my mid 40s, and can just kind of build together and kind of leave stuff for them. Like if they want to go to college, or there might be something there for you and like to use that for school, or you want to build a business on your own, or use that money, whatever you wanted to do. Like in case something does happen, that there's life insurance policies, okay, that there's money left over if you want to like stock, invest in stock market or whatever, like there's whatever you want to do, that there's money there like for you to do, that you wouldn't have to like necessarily take out a loan or student loans, you want to go to school or get certifications or anything like that. Like you just pay things with cash and just do what you need to do in terms of finances for you. So legacy is like always like in my head.
Yes, eventually they'll grow older to understand the significance of all that you're doing. Like eventually it will make sense. You're really just trying to like pave the way so smoothly for them, cuz being first generation,
Mm.
firstborn or only child, like it's tough, man. And you really just gotta like, just put your mind to it. And real life is, you got to teach yourself, especially if you don't have like that hand holding,
Mm.
you're literally building from scratch. So I think that is very honorable. Shows your integrity, how you're willing to do what it takes to really show your family, you've built this, to be everlasting. So I think that's very commendable, and I
Thank
respect
you.
that big
Thank
time. Going back to your book here,
you.
Triumph Through Pain, I have a few favorites of mine as I read the book. Some of my favorite short poems was from Being Hopeful Through Survival. I love the keeping your faith alive and not wavering, just knowing that yes, this is all, tough, and it seems like a nightmare, but yeah, you remain hopeful. That's one of my favorites, along with I Got the Keys and The Come Up, I believe that was the name. Yes, The Come Up. They spoke to me, I guess, just because of the period of time that I'm in my life. I'm in my mid 30s, just had a baby, and just once again, kind of just piggyback off what you're talking about in terms of building that legacy, with your businesses and ownership, principles and morals, and your education. You're literally going just beyond like the norm of what a classroom is you're teaching yourself with the real world. These poems spoke very much to me. I Got the Keys and The Come Up. I hope to get the keys one day too to my place, and The Come Up, because literally you are building brick by brick and it shows. I was wondering, what are some of your favorite poems from the book, if any, all of them, one or two that really, you hold on to?
Wow, you're like the first person that's really kind of asked that.
Well, that's great.
Yeah. I would say like being hopeful through survival. It's chapter 1. There's a couple lines still. 4 years later, we still got the orange stench running amok still. This kind of is just
Hmm.
real from the heart. I got the keys. Like it's powerful when you in your house. I was like literally blasting for like a week straight. I got the keys, dancing while cleaning my house.
I like that song too. Shout out to DJ Khaled.
So like literally, and my kids was like, "You not tired of that song? Like I'm tired of this." I'm like, no, like I'm like cleaning whatever. And once we decided, like, yeah, we were still gonna move, I was all like, all right, I gotta find a job in Delaware, like like literally going like doing Zoom interviews for the first time. Like I'm in New York and the person's in Delaware, and like having conversations, like just like convincing, like I'm coming to Delaware, ready to make that move. And so it's a lot was happening real time, real quick, making kind of decisions. So like really didn't have like the time to really grieve my mom or the clients that I lost. Like I would think about it here and there, but it was just like full goal. Like I had a goal in mind, boom, that was done. Then like continuing, like I had all these ideas and like I literally was trying all these ideas that I had. Like it was just like I don't know if it was like the when I finally got COVID tested the first time, like I tested negative, but I tested positive for the antibodies. So like sometimes I give credit to the antibodies, like giving me all these ideas in my head, and like I'm trying this, I'm trying this. Like I opened up the LLC in October 2020, not really knowing what the heck I was doing, but like kind of like I got caught up in that. Usually stimmy to open up an LLC, like thing that was going on Twitter and stuff. So like and like learning about it, like yeah, like it will help like with with your like your taxes and lowering like paying taxes if you had an LLC if you're not making any money. So like that ended up being true. Or like oh snap, like I got some more money than I would have had normally on my tax return back. But and kind of things rolling into place. Like that, I was doing stuff and like my fiance was like, when you gonna tell me you was doing it? So like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm doing this. It's like just like all these ideas that was just popping in my head, just like was doing it and kind of, my podcast kind of took off. The was writing the book and had offered to be featured or as a co-author in another book, but the timing didn't work out. So yeah, it was just a lot happening. Ended 2020 on a very positive note. To like watch YouTube videos about the housing market at the time, and like it's a hot market, it's a hot market, hot market, and I'm like, all right. But to literally experience that like in real time, and you hear about it now, people asking like more than asking price for the house, like it is like literally that's how literally how it was like at the time, and it's kind of still is right now. So a fascinating, interesting time, and still experiencing it now. Just kind of maintaining the house while still working full time and still promoting my poetry book and focusing on trying to get clients for my business. And so things are still happening.
That is definitely life. Life is a process. And, congratulations on your new chapter with your home. That's amazing and
Thank
beautiful,
you.
honestly, for you to, carve that path for you and your family, for the future generations. That's really honestly hashtag goals. Life. So that's awesome that all of that happened. Life is a series. I've actually spoke about this on this episode of the podcast, where life is a series of highs and lows, but it is up to us, like the title of your book, Triumph Through Pain. We have to somehow, get up every morning to, continue on la lucha,
Hmm.
as it were, to get to the places in life that we wish to be at, at the end of the day. And it takes a while, but eventually everything comes into alignment at the end of the day. So one of my questions was, what is one of your favorite quotes or words that you live by or that you say to yourself on a daily, and maybe that helps motivate others?
Oh man, I don't have any like words that I say to myself. I think maybe as I continue going to therapy and continue to try to heal and continue to celebrate, learn to celebrate everything that I've done. I'm a huge wrestling fan, so there's like two wrestling quotes that I like. One is about from and may he rest in peace, Rowdy Piper. He had a quote that says, "Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good." I say the luck for me was right place, right time in terms of just financially where the market was, the housing market at the time, really low interest rates, the importance of having good credit is extremely important. And not only that, but just from a home ownership situation, but also my professional 9 to 5 role as a social worker. So 2021, so I started working my first day of the job. I was working as a school social worker at the school district where I live at, and then I started. Was my daughter's birthday, January 4th, and then literally 2 days later, the insurrection happened. So it's like I said, the continuation of just like outside forces, like kind of like messes with your day to day life. My other quote is from Ric Flair, like one of my top two favorite wrestlers of all time. I actually got to meet him a couple times, so it was cool. He said, "To beat a man, you got to beat the man." So I was like, kind of
Woo.
go by that exactly.
Good. Some legends there you mentioned. You're an old time wrestling fan. I used to be so much into wrestling growing up. You have no idea. Sure was. But yeah, back to, whatever makes you happy, right? Whatever makes you happy allows you to distress, feel good about yourself, challenge yourself, for better habits, better ways of doing things, and putting in that effort. And that's you're a clear example of it. Again, much congratulations to all of your achievements. It's one roller coaster ride, I'm sure, but nonetheless, I tell myself all the time, these are, we pray for these things. So when they actually manifest itself and we're living in it, it's not always going to be sunflowers and sunshine. The rain gotta hit us too in order to continue to grow these seeds we're planting. Again, I commend you. Thank you so much for being on Presente. Gisela and I are very happy to have you here.
Well,
So
Yes.
thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Keep up the great work.
Mm.
thank you.
Just a quick last bit. So, how can people follow or contact you, whether through social media, website, or email?
Yes, so you can follow me on Instagram at Bass Moreno Consulting. That is all one word. My website is Bass Moreno. That's B as in boy, ASMORENO.com. No, looking for clients if you are interested in financial counseling, see where you at, finances, what goals, short term goals you want to achieve, and how to achieve them. So definitely reach out.
And where can people find your book? I know I got mine through Amazon. Trying
Yes,
to
to
pay.
get it through Amazon would be the best way. I do have it on my website as well. So if you get it through the website, I'll personally shipping them out myself. And if you want it personalized, you can get it through the website, and I'll personalize them to you. So either, like my coach says, either or, however which way you can get the book.
I should have done that too, so I could have gotten personalized. But thank you. I'm pleased with it. And I look forward to any other your books that you have coming up for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Basiliso Moreno, and I'm here on Presente.
Show up for yourself. Do it scared, but do it anyway. Have been words I've been telling myself a lot lately. Because at the end of the day, we have to show up for ourselves physically, emotionally, and soulfully. Physically, sometimes we can feel imbalance with our physical self. So, some ways to help with that or to improve that are to move your body, nourish your brain with some good food, drink your agua, do your self care routine, wash your hair, do your skincare, feel beautiful, and get your nails done. We all deserve pampering. When you smell fresh and look good, you begin to feel better. Get your sleep, your 8+ hours, 10 hours, whatever it is you need to feel re energized for the day.
Emotionally, starting anything is always hard at anything in this life. Now add the feelings of it too. It begins to weigh. It can feel like a cloud filling up with water and ready for rain. Let it. Acknowledge how you feel. Talk to someone if things feel heavy. Vent and vent some more. It is suggested when dealing with mental health to seek a doctor or therapist. Therapy and moments to yourselves are conscious ways that allow your mind and feelings to be at ease. It's okay to seek therapy. We can all learn more about ourselves this way. We can learn about our traumas and our outward reactions. We can heal from within. All feelings are valid.
Soulfully, answer the spiritual calling within and let it out or bring it out. Do hobbies you enjoy that awaken you without the accolades. Sometimes you just have to enjoy something or a hobby without any ties attached to it. Notice how your soul liberates. Moments to meditate, just a few minutes a day, can make a great significance to your overall wellness of physical, mental, and soul being. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Mental health awareness is not an easy process as we navigate through life. It's about accepting uncomfortable challenges that alert us that something is amiss within our own life that can project outwardly in our existence. But though it may be difficult, validating our awareness can lead us to heal from within. It can lead us to create positive changes by understanding that we need to have for a better relationship, not only with others, but ourselves, and discover how to align in our life as best as we can. Your mental health is important, and it's refreshing to see how others process their challenges to improve their daily life. Knowing your personal stories can shift the perspective of anyone else who may be struggling. This is real life, and mental health is part of it.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we strongly advocate for prioritizing and taking care of your mental health. Throughout the upcoming episodes and on our social media pages, Please view and listen to ways that we encourage you to take care of your mental health. If you have a story and want to share it on Presente, please contact us.